In 2002, Northwest Airlines spent $1.2 billion building the most ambitious airport terminal in American history. It was supposed to be the centerpiece of one of the biggest airlines in the world. Detroit was Northwest's empire, their Asian gateway, their connecting fortress, their flagship hub. Then, in 2008, Northwest collapsed and Delta bought them for $17 billion. And the question hanging over the entire industry was simple. What was Delta going to do with the airport Northwest had built around a company that no longer existed? Most predicted they'd quietly shrink it, run it down, move the international flights to Atlanta. That's what airlines normally do with absorbed hubs. Cincinnati, Memphis, Pittsburgh, the graveyard is full of post-merger hubs that got killed. Delta did the opposite. 18 years later, Detroit Metro Airport is one of the most profitable, best-rated, and most strategically important hubs in American aviation. And Delta is in the middle of pouring more than $1 billion into making sure it stays that way. This is the story of how the airport that should have died became the one Delta refuses to let go of. Let me give you the number that frames everything. $1.29 billion. That's the size of the capital investment plan that's being executed at Detroit Airport right now, through 2030. New gates, new restrooms, new baggage systems, new access roads, new everything. For comparison, the entire Airport Authority's investment plan from 2020 to 2024 was about $615 million. The current plan is more than double. And that's just the airport side. On top of that, Delta has been quietly stacking moves. A new premium business class lounge, the most exclusive product they make, is on the way. The Korean Air joint venture is expanding here, not anywhere else. New European routes keep getting added. Bigger, newer planes keep showing up. Add it together, and what you're watching is the largest defensive investment in any single hub in Delta's network outside of Atlanta itself. Now, to be straight with you up front, most of that money technically belongs to the Wayne County Airport Authority, not Delta directly. We'll talk about that. But Delta is the airline this entire investment is built around. They drive 74% of the flights at Detroit. The airport spends the money knowing exactly who flies it. So when I say Delta is quietly spending billions to save Detroit, what I really mean is Delta is the reason Detroit Airport gets this kind of money in the first place. And once you understand why, the entire story makes sense. Here's why this matters more than it should. Detroit handles 33.4 million passengers a year. It's growing slowly, about 1.2% last year, but it hasn't yet matched its all-time peak of 37.7 million in 2019. That number alone tells you nothing. The interesting part is what's inside it. Delta runs 348 peak day departures from Detroit to 106 destinations, 91 of them domestic, 15 of them international. And critically, Detroit is Delta's only airport east of the Rockies where you can fly non-stop to Asia, to Tokyo, to Seoul. Out of the entire eastern United States, this airport is the one Asian door Delta has built. Now put that in context. Delta has 9 U.S. hubs total. The 4 most profitable ones, the ones Delta calls its core, are Atlanta, Detroit, Minneapolis, and Salt Lake City. Detroit is in that group. It's the second busiest hub Delta has. This isn't a backup airport. This is one of Delta's 4 crown jewels. And it almost didn't exist. To understand the bet, you have to understand the inheritance. Northwest Airlines built Detroit. They poured $1.2 billion into the McNamara Terminal, opened February 2002. It was the first major American airport terminal to open after September 11th. A mile-long Concourse A, one of the longest in the world, 122 gates, a monorail running through the middle of the building. For Northwest, Detroit was the king, their primary connecting hub, their pipeline to Tokyo and Asia, the base of their KLM partnership. Then, 2008 happened. Northwest, weakened by the financial crisis, ran out of road. Delta bought them in a $17.7 billion merger. The combined airline became the biggest in the world at the time. Delta now had 3 Midwest hubs, Cincinnati, Memphis, and Detroit, plus their own original network out of Atlanta. They could not run all of them, something had to be downsized. Cincinnati got hollowed out, once 22 million passengers a year and 600 daily Delta flights, eventually shrunk to almost nothing. Memphis got de-hubbed entirely in 2013. The Detroit or Cincinnati decision was the most important hub call Delta made in the last 20 years. Delta chose Detroit. The reason is interesting. Cincinnati was smaller, less defensible, and had been an inherited hub from the Comair Regional. Detroit had something neither of the other two had: the existing $1.2 billion terminal and captive corporate market built on the auto industry and an established gateway to Asia. So, Delta moved the international routes to Detroit, killed Cincinnati's hub status, and committed to Detroit as the Eastern Global Connector. That decision is the entire reason this story exists today. So Delta inherited a billion-dollar terminal and decided to keep it. 18 years later, the question is, what does protecting that bet look like in 2026? The answer is showing up in concrete, in seats, and in the planes that pull up to the gate. The Wayne County Airport Authority's capital plan through 2030 has Detroit Metro scheduled for $1.29 billion of work. It's not glamorous. Most of it isn't building new terminals or new runways. It's the unsexy stuff that determines whether passengers come back. 67 of the airport's restrooms are being completely rebuilt. The baggage carousels are being replaced. The jet bridges are being replaced. The total program runs $38 million, 28 of it federal money, finished by 2027. The main access road into the airport, John Dingle Drive, is getting an $85 million rehabilitation through 2027. The airport authority is issuing hundreds of millions of dollars in bonds to fund all of it. The 2025 bond series alone was $289 million. Before that, the 2023 series was $370 million. This is what protecting a billion-dollar terminal actually looks like. You don't replace it, you re-engineer every system inside it. You make sure the experience matches what the next generation of premium travelers expects. And here's where Delta connects. The airport authority spends this money because Delta drives 74% of every flight that leaves the building. If Delta walked away from Detroit, none of this gets paid for. The bonds don't make sense. The federal grants don't show up. The entire infrastructure plan exists because Delta keeps Detroit as a core hub. So when I say Delta is spending billions to save Detroit, what's literally true is that Delta is the anchor tenant making more than $1 billion of investment possible. While the airport rebuilds the bathrooms, Delta's making moves of its own. The biggest one? Delta's building a Delta One lounge at Detroit. If you don't know what that is, here's why it matters. The Delta Sky Club is the standard lounge. Fine, perfectly nice, but available to a lot of people. The Delta One lounge is a completely different product, restricted to long-haul international business class passengers, restaurant-quality food, cocktail bars, spa treatments. Right now, only 4 airports have one: JFK in New York, LAX in Los Angeles, Boston, and Seattle. Out of 9 Delta hubs in the entire country, only 4 currently get this premium product. Delta has now announced Delta One lounges are coming to 4 more hubs: Detroit, Minneapolis, Salt Lake City, and Atlanta. Notice the pattern. Those are the 4 core profitable hubs, and Detroit is at the top of the list. A lounge like this isn't decoration. It's a multi-million-dollar product investment that signals where Delta thinks the high-revenue international passenger of 2030 is going to be. They put it in Detroit because they expect to be flying massively more international long-haul out of Detroit by then. That's not the move of an airline that's hedging. And one more piece that doesn't get talked about enough. Detroit was built to operate in winter. 6 runways, 4 of them parallel, 2 crosswind. That layout means when a snowstorm hits, the airport can shut down one runway for snow removal while keeping the others running. Most major airports can't do that. Atlanta especially struggles, New York struggles, Detroit doesn't. Delta runs about 50 de-icing trucks at Detroit using what they call a blend-to-temperature system. They've trained over 250 de-icers there. In the 2022-2023 winter, Delta de-iced 8,255 planes at Detroit alone. When other airlines are canceling flights for snow, Delta out of Detroit is launching them. That reliability becomes revenue. Corporate travel managers route their executives through hubs that don't strand them. Detroit becomes the safe bet. In 2025, Delta was the most on-time North American airline for the 5th straight year. 80.9% of all flights arriving on time. The interior hubs anchoring that performance are the interior ones, and Detroit is one of them. Let me give you the honest version. The billions of dollars I'm talking about aren't all written by Delta directly. The airport authority is doing the heavy infrastructure spending. The Delta One Lounge has been announced for Detroit but doesn't have a confirmed opening date yet. Delta itself has not publicly attached a specific dollar figure to its Detroit investment the way they did with LAX, where the joint program is $2.3 billion. So, if you want to fact-check this video, here's the honest version. The infrastructure money is the airport authorities. The premium lounge is announced, not open. The routes are expanding, but not at the pace of Atlanta or Minneapolis. What Delta is doing is acting like Detroit is one of its 4 most important hubs in America and lining up every piece of evidence to back it up. The route expansion, the premium product, the fleet upgauging to newer aircraft, the dominance after Spirit's collapse. That's what defending a fortress looks like in real time. Here's the way I keep thinking about this. In 2008, when Delta bought Northwest, almost every analyst thought Detroit was the inherited hub that would get quietly downsized. A $1.2 billion terminal sitting around a city in industrial decline, surrounded by auto factories shutting down. 18 years later, Detroit is the second busiest hub Delta has, the only non-stop gateway to Asia outside the West Coast, ranked number 2 best mega airport in America by J.D. Power last year, number 1 the year before. The airport authority is running a $1.29 billion plan to keep it that way. The Korean Air partnership keeps expanding. The Delta One Lounge is coming, the European routes keep getting added, the bigger planes keep showing up. And Spirit, the one competitor that could ever have threatened Delta's grip, just disappeared. Detroit was supposed to be the merger hub Delta would quietly let fade away. It became the one they're spending more than $1 billion to keep. That's not rescue, that's reinforcement. And in airline strategy, those are the bets that pay off for decades.